What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another conversation here on the Film the Hunt podcast. I am your host, Jordan Suzowitz, and we are on episode number 5. And Film the Hunt is your leader in outdoor video education. And my good friends Tom Petrie and Nick Ventura are the founders of Film the Hunt, as well as host of the TV show Become One on the Sportsman's Channel. And today, Nick joins me on the conversation that we have with Luke Braswell from Bedford Camera and Video. Now, Luke, he's a well-seasoned photographer, and we talk about a little bit about his background and also what fuels his inspiration for creativeness. And then Nick asked a pop question to Luke, and his answer kind of surprised us. And then we talk about camera brand comparisons and which brand may be better. But before we get into that conversation, we do want to thank Bedford Camera and Video for the support of this podcast. And like I always say, this company is a rock star company, and the customer service is top notch. And in today's world, customer service is super important. And if you didn't know, we do have a discount code with them. It is Film the Hunt, and if you apply that discount code at checkout, you'll be able to save some of those hard-earned dollars by applying Film the Hunt at checkout. We also do want to say we hope you are healthy and safe during this crazy time, because never before have we ever been in a pandemic like this, and we hope it gets over quicker than later. So let's jump into today's conversation with Luke Braswell. Well, we are sitting here this morning with a gentleman that is beautifully long-haired and got a gorgeous beard. He goes by the name of Luke Braswell. Good morning, Luke.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
Doing great.
Great.
Yeah.
We got Nicholas Ventura, the ace man here, sitting in on this. And how you doing this morning, Nick?
Oh, it's a morning. I got coffee though. I'll be all right.
All right.
I'm not a morning person, you know that.
Oh, I know that. Yeah.
But I feel like today's my better morning than most. So
Yeah. You look good today too.
Well, thank you.
And you're very, long bearded, short haired though. You don't have as long as hair as Luke.
It takes a lot of work to, keep this mane.
I don't know if it's work or not work at all.
Well, right on. Well, gentlemen, thanks for being here this morning. We're going to talk a little bit about Luke's background and where he kind of got started, his love for photography and videography, and also Luke is new to the outdoor industry. And Luke works for Bedford Camera and Video, as well as Bedford Outdoors. So, Luke, kind of give us a background of how you got into videography and photography and what you enjoy about it mostly.
Yeah, so I actually kind of got into it a little later than a lot of people. But when I was in high school, my senior year of high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, basically. But everybody said, you got to figure it out, Well, I didn't. And I was actually at a basketball game, and I saw somebody on the sidelines that had a camera, and they were just taking pictures and whatnot, and I just started asking them questions. And that lady actually was super nice, and she said, hey, would you want to try it? And I was like, well, yeah.
Really?
Absolutely. At the time, I thought it was just like this $1 million camera rig, because it was, I don't know, it was big, it was clunky, it had a huge flash with a bracket thing on it. I mean, it was crazy.
So this is how many years ago, would you say?
It was 12 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old are you, Luke?
So I'm 27.
Okay, so you're just a young dog still.
Yeah. And
he looks seasoned, doesn't he?
He does.
You got it. It's all the long nights. What can I say? But basically, she was like, "Yeah, have at it. Go for it. You know, try to take some pictures." And it was a tournament, so like I literally spent the whole rest of the day just like taking pictures, learning just a little bit here and there off of her camera.
That's awesome.
And then we did a tour of a college.
Right on.
Oklahoma State University is actually where I went, and I actually happened to walk through the photo department and had no idea that was even a thing there.
Right on.
And I was like, man, I really want to do that. Mm-hmm. So I actually set up an actual interview and whatnot with them, and that was it. So I went to school for photographic technologies. Is technically what my degree is in, but it basically started from there and just kind of kept going with it for sure.
Good for you. So you graduated then how long ago?
8 years ago.
8 years ago. No.
If you were high school 12, or is it 2-year?
No, I graduated
Yeah, 21, 22, right? I would think.
9 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So when you graduated college, and did you jump right into like the freelance world, or did you jump right into
no,
like
so I actually got a job as a staff photographer for a agricultural company in South Oklahoma.
Okay.
Before I graduated.
Oh, right on, man.
So I did a lot of like freelance work throughout college, just kind of building my skills.
Yeah.
And then had a portfolio to the point that somebody actually asked me if I would be their staff photographer.
Really?
So I went to South Oklahoma, down in Ardmore, Oklahoma.
Okay.
And worked for the Noble Foundation down there.
Really?
And basically, I took pictures of cows and grass. That was literally my job. Their whole like foundation is betterment of beef cattle.
Okay.
Is basically what it is. So they
Interesting.
They engineer like special grasses and processes for better healthy animals, basically.
Yeah. Now, I got to ask you, since you said that you take pictures of cows and grass, from a creative standpoint, I feel you can only be so creative.
You are absolutely correct.
So how long did you do that for?
I did that for a little over a year.
Okay, so not super long.
No. Like it was great. I was making crazy good money.
Good for you.
For a kid not even graduated out of college yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And because I still had a semester and a half before I actually graduated.
Right on. Yep.
And so I finished all of that like through online courses because they were all gen eds that I had left. So boom, done. But it was impressive how difficult how difficult it was to photograph cows and grass for a year. Because like you said, there's absolutely very few ways that you can really do that.
Did you from a creative standpoint, like, because it's super hard to be creative. Like, what did you go to like kind of encourage yourself to be creative, to shoot simple shots?
Yeah. That's a really great question. Honestly, I think I personally went to other things. So
nice.
like I photographed other things that helped revitalize me and made me excited about it. So like I would photograph cars.
Nice.
Or like motorcycles. I love automotive photography. So like I would be going around all these different places, car dealerships or people that had nice cars, and just said, "Hey, can I steal your car for a day?" And like basically take their pictures. And that's kind of what kept me going.
Right on.
As far as like being creative and then finding things that I liked outside of my actual job. So outside of what I was paid to shoot. Still shooting, but finding something that I enjoyed shooting.
So that fueled the fire to keep it going.
It absolutely did. So that was really how I kind of kept energized in that industry.
Well, that's what, like I know, like Nick and I, we've had conversations, it's like you get to a certain point and you're just grinding away. It's like, man, I need something to spark me to be creative, or and I know
reset.
Nick's like, like I'll jump on YouTube and like watch Yeti films or something like that, just to something like, man, that's cool. Like, all right, now I got the light back and or whatever.
I could, if I never watched another hunting video or film, I'd be fine just doing our own stuff. Like I love watching major motion pictures, trying to figure out how they do stuff like that, behind the scenes stuff like that.
Absolutely.
If you're like, if you're at a certain level and you're only looking at stuff that's at your level,
you're not going to
help yourself. Not that we're at the top by any means. There's way better stuff out there than us, but. Then you go to major motion pictures, sit in a movie theater, like that's the top of the line.
Absolutely.
Well, and one of just recently released was the movie. Was it
1917?
1917. Super. I haven't seen it yet, but I mean, just watching the trailer and a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. I mean, it's just the creative standpoint. It really encourages you to go out and shoot and shoot differently.
Absolutely.
They're doing stuff now in mostly natural light.
I know. It's incredible.
They say it's one continuous shot. It's of course very slick transitions.
Meticulous.
But I mean, it's the storyline is like from start to finish. The guy wakes up and then it's real time until he gets to the end of the movie. it's really crazy. And they were saying like, if we were all the actors and like you're like 15 minutes into the shot and then like Luke messes up his lines.
Oh yeah.
Got to go back and do it all over again. And it's and everything has to go perfect.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. But so Luke, after college and after graduating, obviously you said you worked for that agency where you're taking pictures of grass and cows and doing some epic stuff with that.
Yeah.
From there, where'd you go?
So I actually got approached by a company in Northwest Arkansas. So that's actually how I got to that area.
Yeah.
And it was a sports apparel company. And basically they made like headbands for Reebok and all these other companies.
Nice.
And then they made their own headbands, and then they made hats and apparel and whatnot. So I actually became their staff photographer, which was really cool because when I got there, they had nothing. They had just opened this position because they had gotten big enough that they could afford it. And they said, okay, you have $60,000. Go do what you need to do to get the equipment that you need to make this the best possible. And I was like, shoot, yeah, let's do this.
Shoot,
yeah. So,
thanks for keeping it clean.
So,
definitely not what you said.
No, it wasn't. But I was like, okay, let's do this. So that's actually my first interactions that I had with Bedfords. Was I actually purchased all of our equipment for that company through Bedford's, which was great because I ended up building a huge studio and built a 3-walled cyc wall with a full floating light box over top. It was 15 by 20 feet. And it was fully anchored in on pulleys, so you could lower it, angle it, do all kinds of stuff. So that was fun, and then bought a bunch of equipment for that. And then basically once we got all that settled, they put me in a Sprinter van, and I just traveled all over the U.S. going to events that we sponsored, like the CrossFit Games or lacrosse tournaments and stuff like that, and taking pictures. So
that's great, man.
Yeah, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. But I found that honestly, for me personally, I love taking pictures for myself, or doing videos for myself.
Not pictures of yourself,
not
but pictures for yourself.
Myself, but for me.
So you're not taking bastard selfies.
I'm doing pro selfies. I've got my camera flipped around. It's great. Don't worry about it.
I love how myself looks.
Oh man.
But like I've started to realize after working for a couple of different people as their staff photographers that, it doesn't matter what you're doing. I went from taking pictures of cows and grass to a company that literally put me in a Sprinter van with $60,000 worth of equipment and was just like, we're going to send you to all these different places all over the country. I mean, you would think that would be like the end all be all, right?
Right.
Well, I was just, it kind of wears down on you. It does. I mean,
the travel or?
Well, not necessarily the travel, but the fact that you're never photographing something that you really want to photograph.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great point. Great point.
So it was still work. It really was.
Yeah.
Granted, ended up leaving there and going to Bedford's for other reasons, but I enjoyed it. But I had to I found myself going, man, I'm tired of this. I would get into the mindset of, man, this is work. I really need to just I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, at that point I had to take a step back and go, wait, why is this the way it is? And I had to start realizing I needed to shoot stuff for myself as well.
Yeah.
Because that's how I stay motivated. That's how my creativity keeps up, and without that, it doesn't work. I mean, you can be there shooting the coolest stuff in the world. I was at the CrossFit Games with all these impressive athletes doing insane things, and I was just
still wasn't
kind of bored, to be honest. I was bored, and it was something that I didn't even realize it until my second job, basically after the agricultural company into this company, and I had been there for months at this point, and I was just like, testing. Okay, maybe I just need to start doing something for myself. And as soon as I did, that's really what helped.
And Bedford kind of allows you to
absolutely
to do that, and
Bedford's fantastic. It is honestly one of the best jobs because I get to play with all this really cool camera gear and learn from the manufacturers themselves, like from their reps and everything, which is fun. But then they also allow me to do my creative stuff outside of work.
So after working with that job, how long now have you been with Bedford's?
So I've been with Bedford's for almost 5 years.
Oh, good for you.
That's a long stint.
Yeah, that's 5 years.
Yeah. No. I just
that's great,
crushed the millennial average per job, I think, right?
Yes, man. Great job. Thank you. So if anyone listening, man, take after Luke, man. He's been at a job for 5 years. That's crazy.
Man, I know.
No. Well, that's cool, man. You said outside of Bedford, you still get to do some creative stuff. So
absolutely.
What do you like to do?
So, well, there's a few different things. I still do commercial work outside of Bedford. So I still work for companies like Sam's Club or Synchrony or banks and things like that, which they have me kind of moving around doing stuff like that. But honestly, I do a lot of boudoir photography as well. So like intimate photography, kind of more of like lingerie ads and stuff like that.
That's cool, man. No, it's how'd you get into that?
It's actually funny. I had
Don't get any ideas, Jorden.
Right.
No, actually in school. So in school we had an advanced portrait class. And one of our assignments for the week was doing either maternity or boudoir. Like you had to do that as an assignment. Well, I didn't know anybody that was pregnant at the time, and I was just like, well, I guess that sums it up for me. So basically looked around, and actually one of my friends were like, yeah, I'd be totally happy to do that. So ended up doing that and finding that I really enjoyed the artistry behind it. Not necessarily, I mean, everybody gets kind of tied up in the fact that like, oh, you're taking pictures of women in underwear or whatnot. And I'm like, no, it's not necessarily that. It's being able to take a photograph of someone that may not be so confident in themselves, and then showing them how great they actually are. And that was a big part of why I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, obviously, a lot of people's initial reaction is like, "Oh man, he gets to do that," but there's art to it.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's a creative, artful, beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
And for someone to come out of their comfort zone, it helps them too.
Absolutely.
I guess no, you go.
Maybe this is where you were going. Canon or Sony? We asked that to a lot of people.
Oh, Canon or Sony? Well, I started with Canon.
Okay. 5D or?
No, actually, I started with the 7D, the original 7D.
Nice, man. Yeah.
Had that for about almost a year, and then the Nikon D800 was announced. And for what I was doing at the time, doing like my personal work, which was automotive at the time, I wanted the biggest, baddest sensor I could to really get in fine detailed wise. Well, that had a 36 megapixel sensor, so I sold everything I owned. I mean, every piece of equipment I owned, and bought this $3,600 body. I didn't have a lens. I didn't have anything. So I ended up finding somebody that was selling a Tamron 28 to 75, I think is what it is. 2875 2.8 for Nikon.
So you had to adapt to it.
It was a Nikon mount. But like that was the lens that I used. And then luckily I had some friends that had Nikon, so I was able to use a couple of lenses here and there. But after that, I ended up going back to Canon with the 1DX Mark II. I was the first one in Northwest Arkansas to have a 1DX Mark II, which was kind of neat.
Really? Yeah, that's way cool.
Pre-ordered that one on there. But honestly, I've since sold off all of my Nikon and Canon stuff and gone completely to the Fujifilm system.
Really?
This is where we argue.
Yes. This is...
No, I guess for me and Jorden personally, and I know I speak for both of us, the photo stuff is a supplement to what we do.
Right.
Videos number one, photos number two. And I guess if you could sell me on the video aspect, then it's a no-brainer. But
well, now you also have to think like I know you guys use a lot of different cameras,
Yeah.
but if we're comparing apples to apples, okay,
Yeah, I mean, just from the photo standpoint, we can just do
well,
that.
I mean, just from the photo, well, I can do photo and video. I'm about to crush that Sony you
All
got
right,
there. So just from the photo standpoint of things, on the Fuji, it's very tactile feeling. You have knobs and wheels on the camera that you don't have to go through 17 different menus and then 18 different sub menus and then sub menus I mean, everything that you need to adjust the color of your image, the quality of your image, any of your settings, your ISO, aperture, everything is on the outside of the camera, easily accessible and quickly accessible.
Okay. It's a pro.
I was actually even going from a 1DX Mark II to the Fuji. I became such a faster photographer switching to the Fuji. Granted, it took me a solid 3 weeks to really get used to it.
Yeah.
Okay. But after that point, it was so much faster.
Really?
So much faster. And then I also was able to cut down my editing time dramatically because Fujifilm has been around forever. I mean, they're
Color Sciences.
super old company, and their whole thing is about color.
Yeah.
Fujifilm.
I do like that.
Okay, so they have an exceptional color on their cameras. I mean, you can go through and program your entire camera to fit exactly the mood and color that you want for that shoot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible how dialed in you can make it.
Well,
And if I'm not go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, I know that would be like we've built our profile and stuff like that for the TV show, but it does take a lot, for editing photos wise, because we shoot in the same profile for photos and video. It does take a little bit. We've created presets and stuff like that for the photos, but we still got to tweak it.
Right. Absolutely.
But like Nick said, I mean, photos are second, video is more prominent. But it is interesting to hear Fuji and how well it's changed your ability.
Absolutely.
And I know you have too. I've seen Luke's photos, and the color's great, and they're all sharp.
And what's crazy is when it comes to the coloring aspect of my photographs,
it's minimal.
It actually takes me longer to scan through the images and pick the ones that I want than it actually is to edit them, because it takes no time to edit these days.
What about weight?
Weight is a lot lighter than any
other
body out there.
That's
pretty
crazy.
much.
Crazy.
And the great thing about for example, I shoot the XT3s. Got an X Pro 3 on the way, but the T3s are what I have currently.
Okay.
This is also foreign to me.
I know.
Like that.
I know.
The numbering system. Yeah. So the Fuji XT3 is what I currently shoot.
Okay.
And it's a 26 megapixel sensor. Okay, so it's not ultra high resolution, but it's still a really solid sensor.
Yeah.
It's a backside illuminated, so it's really solid in low light as well.
Okay.
I have no issues going to 3200, 4000 ISO.
I was just going to ask you
golden.
What really.
And that's another thing about the Fujifilm system. For some reason, and I don't know what it is about their processing, but the grain and noise that you get from higher ISOs.
Yeah.
In the Fuji, it feels different. It doesn't feel as electronic or like an artifact. It's
got the cinematic
cinematic
noise.
Grain, or like honestly, it reminds me of like a fine film grain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it's almost pleasing.
Yeah.
It's totally bizarre to me. Like coming from a Nikon that if you go like the D800, I mean, if you were shooting that at a high ISO, you're just like, I might as well just throw this out the window. Like it's done.
Yeah.
But like that was one thing that I really like about it. But it also has, it's weather sealed. It's magnesium alloy body. It's able to be functioning in worst weather conditions. I mean, it's got 2 high-speed card slots.
And price point. I know.
Price point.
Yeah, I mean that's
low.
MSRP.
Lower.
Yeah, MSRP full retail is $1,500 for a body.
That's crazy.
Which is quite a bit less than about any other Sony or Nikon
and the
or
lenses
Canon.
are comparably less too. It's not like they get you on that or anything like that.
For example, like the equivalent of like the 85 from Sony, the GM would be like right around $2,000, I think, is what it is.
Yeah.
The comparable for the Fuji would be about $1,000.
It's crazy.
So I
You're
mean,
pretty much half
the price
Yeah.
on
around
pretty
the board
much
for everything. Yeah.
most everything on there.
Now, video
Video-wise,
what's it
so
like? What's it got?
one, the color system, that's a huge thing, and they have the Eterna color system on or color profile for the Fujis, and that's a dedicated cinematic look,
Okay.
and it is beautiful. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, it's beautiful.
Man, I'll have to look
you
in.
can also do.
Beautiful.
Oh,
It
my
is,
gosh.
man. Like
I can
I'm
just
a
see it. You got the long
snob.
hair.
Man, I know
It's
it. I know.
beautiful.
Blowing in the wind. I'm a snob when it comes to color. Like I'm. It's not that I like only one type of color. I just like a good color science and a good color grade on a final project. And to me, that makes your work stand out for sure. And starting with the Eterna is a great way to do that too. They also have F-Log, so like you would have Canon C-Log or Nikon N-Log or S-Log or whatever. They have F-Log as well.
Is it 1080 or is it 4K?
It's a 4K sensor. Now here's the thing that little bump up. I'm gonna shove Sony in the dirt a little bit here.
Oh, man, this guy's digging.
It's a 4K sensor, but it does it at 60 frames in body.
Okay.
So whereas any of your Sonys right now do maximum of 30 frames a second.
Yeah.
So you can double your frame rate and get that little bit slower motion. But it'll also do 4K 60 frames 10-bit 422. Okay, so
What about high frame rate?
high frame
I got
rate.
you on one, didn't I?
You got me on one thing.
Had to be something. I just didn't know what it was.
It does. If I'm not mistaken, it will do 1080 at 120, but I do need to double check that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's probably like 560 or something like that at 120.
I very, very rarely shoot high speed. So
Have you tried it though with that camera, or no?
I haven't. I've shot the 60 frames on it.
For what you do, and not that for the hunters or the outdoors they need the 120. That's just a big selling point with the Sony. Is a lot of these guys are looking to get slow mo. Yeah. And the A7 series is, for the price, it's easy to get that versus jumping up to your FS5s or stuff like that.
Right.
But no, man, I think there's a couple other things that are minor on the A7 that's nice, like because that's built for video. You can have that adapter for the XLR stuff. Like audio-wise, it probably just has the one input, mini plug.
So it's the same exact as the Sony currently, as far as like the A7 series or the A9 series. They make all the adapters and whatnot.
So they have like a hot shoe.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
man!
You can get all of that built into it.
I fully thought I was gonna win this argument. I'm losing.
No, small rig makes cages for it.
Okay.
I mean,
wow.
And then of course Fuji actually. If you're from the broadcast side of cinematography, like Fuji has always made exceptional broadcast lens, so cinema lenses. I mean, they have their MX line cinema lenses that are all geared, declicked, ready to roll for like full-on cinema production that you can get in the Fuji X mount.
Okay.
You can also get it in I'm pretty sure a Sony mount as well, or a Canon mount as well, whatever. But
right on.
But yeah, you're set up, ready to go with that system, even for a full-fledged production. Now, I will say, and I'll give Sony this, okay? They do have in-body stabilization on the Sonys. Yeah. Okay? On the Fuji, the X-T3 does not. The X-H1 does. And it actually has a better in-body stabilization than...
What about the Pro that you're getting?
So the X Pro 3 is, honestly, it's not a video camera. It's not. It does 4K. It does, shoot video. But it does not have the capabilities like the X-T3 has. It is more. It's a rangefinder camera. It's designed more for like. Honestly, it's like a hipster camera, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
That's awesome.
It's a rangefinder. But I will say that it's a first camera that was ever made with a titanium frame and body. Plus, it has a Duratec coating on it that makes it incredibly scratch resistant and wear resistant.
Really?
Over any magnesium alloy ever made. I mean,
maybe,
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
maybe
interesting.
Fuji's something that needs more attention, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's definitely not a first thought or
No.
second or third thought.
No,
really,
yeah.
It really
honestly.
isn't. No,
But
most people think of, like, first thing they go, okay, Sony, or they go Canon, one
Right.
or the other. And then they're like, well, maybe we should look at Nikon. And then, like, way back in the distance, nobody's even thinking about Fuji. Well, they're starting to produce cameras that are really turning heads and
Great.
saying, maybe we should look at them.
Yeah.
is one more question on it, because I think this is one of the biggest selling points we have in our schools with the A7 is the low light. Is it comparable?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
I'd be curious to put them side by side.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the Sony
We
is
should
so
do
good.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd
honestly.
be
do
a
that.
great little
That'd
Yeah.
be fun.
photo test. Or,
Yeah.
And hey, if Sony beats it, kudos.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I mean,
but I think it
I'm
would
curious
be cool.
with that grain, like you said, because you can get grain with Sony, but I wouldn't say it's
Pleasing.
as pleasing.
Yeah.
You know, like a
Yeah.
little bit is okay. Now, like with the red or those higher dollar cameras,
Yeah.
then that grain looks nice.
Right.
And I'm wondering
It
if
has
that
that
Fuji with
cinema
that
grain,
color
yeah.
will give you
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be a test we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess
Well-
Bedford's is going to have to send us one. So
All right.
we're
Well,
good
we
to
can get
go.
that taken care of. But,
well, right
yeah.
on, man.
And just quick note
Yeah.
here. If you are more on the photo side of things, wanting to do your landscape photography or whatever
Yeah.
else, they do have the GFX line,
Okay.
which is a medium format system.
Yeah.
So they have two cameras that are 52 megapixels and one camera that's
Really?
102 megapixels.
102.
Yeah, and the 102, the GFX 100 is what it's called. It's 102 megapixel. That has in-body stabilization. It is weather sealed. It's
Really?
a beast of a camera, and it's actually the first camera to have 16-bit RAW photos.
Really?
So usually you would get the
a lot of data.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's big time.
Yeah.
The uncompressed TIFF out of that is over 600 megabytes.
Oh gosh.
So
Wow.
it is huge
Wow.
camera. But if that's what you're doing,
Yeah,
landscapes
yeah.
and stuff
Giant
like that,
stuff.
oh man, that is the camera to get. For
Really?
sure.
So to circle back, what's
Yeah.
the camera for photo video that you would recommend comparable to the A7 for people listening?
XT3.
XT3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so the
Fuji.
Fujifilm
Yeah.
XT3.
Fuji.
Yeah.
And it is
FOOJI.
Fujifilm. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, no, not quite.
That's how I would spell it.
Yeah, that's Jordan. Sounds right.
Yeah, that sounds right. Fujifilm.
Siri said so.
That's awesome. No, so the Fujifilm XT3 would definitely be the all-around camera for sure.
Okay. Cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, right on, man. Well, I definitely appreciate you jumping on here, Luke,
Yeah,
and kind of giving us a background. Any last things for anyone that might be listening? Actually, before we get to that, where can people find you?
Yeah, so you can basically call Bedford Camera and Video or Bedford Outdoors, the contact number there. And if that's something, if you need something from me, I'd be more than happy to just ask for me.
Right on.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
and then
definitely.
Instagram, Facebook?
Yep, so just my name, Luke Braswell.
Nice.
And that'll be where you'll find me there. So
I spell Braswell because there's no Z,
yeah,
is there?
There is no Z. It is an S. So it's BRASWELL.
Excellent, man. Excellent. Yeah. Any last closing?
No, man, I appreciate you guys having me on here.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have you on again. We'll get Bear Paw and you together,
All right.
and
Well, that'll be fun.
yeah, and maybe we'll have a couple beers on us
Oh,
too.
well, at that point, it'll be real fun.
Loosen up a little bit.
Yeah. Well, Nick, thank you. Luke, thank you.
Appreciate
and
it.
Yeah.
Until next time. Hey, thanks for tuning into this week's conversation on the Film the Hunt podcast. And we want to thank Luke for his time. And if you're a person that is wanting to gain some more knowledge about some camera gear, or if you have any questions, make sure you hit Luke up at Bedford's, and you can find his contact information at bedfords.com. And then also make sure you search him on Instagram. He's got a pretty cool page, so you'll be able to see some of the photos that he takes if you type in Luke Braswell on Instagram. And then make sure you give him a follow as well. We also want to thank Bedford Camera and Video for the support of this podcast. We do have a discount code with Bedford's, and that's Film the Hunt, and you'll be able to save 5% on gear and accessories. And talking about discount codes, we do have one for the Film to Hunt podcast. If you're looking to sign up for the new online course, you can save 25% if you use the Film to Hunt podcast discount code at checkout. Pretty cool because that new online course has a beautiful new facelift to it with new material and just an awesome update. So you're going to want to make sure you check out the new online course at filmtohunt.com. We want to again thank you for tuning in to this Film to Hunt podcast. Make sure you give us a 5-star rating if you dig the podcast, and then also leave us a review. We'd love to hear what you think of the conversations that we have. So until next time, everyone, please stay healthy, please stay safe, and make sure you get that camera or DSLR out and take some photos or some video and just keep honing in and being creative out there. So thank you, and cheers, everyone.